Since Chapter 4, the storyline of Fortnite basically became an afterthought, while the focus was moved on to the Teamyverse instead. But that all changes today thanks to Fortnite Chapter 7, because we're finally continuing the actual story of Fortnite, following up on the Corrupted 7, what happened to Geno and the Imagine Order, plans of the last reality and their phase 2, return of the most powerful Fortnite character of all time, connecting up OG and Chapter 7 stories together, and just so much more that has happened here. Fortnite Chapter 7 basically is like the revival of the lore, so it deserves a lot of respect for that, which is gonna be this video you're watching. But boys, hope you enjoyed the entire story of Chapter 7. Right on the end of Chapter 6 and defeat of the Dark Presence, John Jones uses the 0-point shard to command this 0-point piece onto fixing all the mess on Reality 783. Then it's told to rift itself, us the Loopers and Jones plus Hope and Midas onto a new reality called 266. This reality is chosen because it seems to be the place needed for finding the rest of the 0-point pieces, then reforging it all back together so Midas can create a new version of the Chapter 1 vault. Then keep the 0-point safe within there away from its enemies, unlike what the 7 did in the past. You stupid, you dumb, you're tiny, you stupid! Our team plans to reach this by building a giant lab at the center of this island, focus on the single 0-point chunk that they have found. Then these panels will be used to control the broken pieces, and through it find the exact location of every other piece in the Omniverse. But while they're just managing the lab or just partying around having fun, getting drunk on chug splash chug jug thingy, you're getting drunk in Fortnite. That's crazy. Suddenly we get to see everything from the eyes of the Nothing, how he has been watching and controlling the entire history of Fortnite. Then a message showing up in the end confirming the end of the learning phase with the Dark Voyager, as now it begins the phase 2. Then right after this message, suddenly a mini version of the Cube Cradle appears named the Dark Harvester, basically confirming how this thing will begin the next phase of Last Reality and the Nothing's plan. Inside of the ship we got two people coming in, both of which moved here from Fortnite OG after manipulating that place to cause everything with the red cube. Those are the Dark Voyager, who is given a list of people to kill, shoot, starting with the bus driver and ending with the Foundation. The second person is an OG variant of Lynx who works for the last reality, but after killing the bus driver, they just don't really do anything for a while anymore, except for the Voyager scanning all the people on the island to see who's here, constantly watching us. While Lynx was also sent to find and steal Jones's 0-point shard. Seeing the Dark Harvester gives my poor boy Jones PTSD of the Herald, making him send a distress signal across all reality in hopes that maybe some of the 7 are still out there to help him. The Order, who traveled onto Chapter 6 for looking into the aftermath of Dark Presence War, actually picks up this signal, making her travel to Jones with the signature 7 style, just like a meteor. Just imagine inviting the 7 into your house. You're gonna go homeless! But I mean, the meteor is kinda cool though. Maybe you could sell the meteor too. You're gonna make even more money than your house is worth it. Then you're gonna also get insurance money. You're gonna double your money. On arrival, these are the things we get to hear the Order speak of.
For the 7, we are what we used to be. I miss my sister most of all. This reality feels familiar in so many ways, yet something's not quite right. The loop seems stable, at least for now, but the storm has changed, almost like someone's been tampering with it.
She brings up how the 7 are not really who they used to be. A line that matches the fate of the 7 is unknown from the last event. Then from all the gathered information, it seems like the Order and Foundation are the only ones who managed to escape the Chrome, turning off their communication for a while so they cannot be captured. As the Order still believes that the Imagined is dead from the events of the collision, even though I still don't really think that the Imagined is dead. Like, I don't know, man, hell no. I believe that Geno saved her the same way as himself, but he's keeping her with himself, cause like, just think about it. If he saves the Imagined and be like, Imagine, you can go home now, don't worry about it, go to the rest of the 7. Is he stupid to do that? No, Geno is not stupid, you're stupid, or I'm stupid. I am probably stupid. If the Imagined went back to the 7, then Foundation and such would be like, wait a second, how the hell are you alive? Didn't you like jump in the 0-point with Geno? Does that mean that Geno is alive too? So Geno is just keeping the Imagined for now, so nobody finds out about the fact that he faked his death, the fact that he is still alive. And probably whenever Geno comes back, the Imagined is also gonna come back with him. While the Visitor, Scientist and Origin are are still captured by the last reality, changed and turned into corrupted soldiers. Then Paradigm is like the only one whose fate is actually unknown, because like Paradigm came in at the end of chapter 4, or at the start of chapter 4 she was like, "Wee, I'm gonna make a new island for you," and then she just vanished. She just went bye-bye. She didn't even say bye-bye, she just vanished. So we don't know if she's dead, we don't know if she's even doing anything, we don't know if she's trying to maybe save the 7, we don't know if she just gave up. Now after the 7th part, the Order says something which most people ignored. But I would say that this is the most important line she says on arrival. It's the fact that this reality feels so familiar to her in so many ways, yet something is not quite right. Now if you remember, the sisters are the daughters of Geno himself, who after Geno realized what a terrible father he is for them, he wiped out their memories, sending them to a far reality so they can start a new life without him influencing it. Yet his entire plan failed in the end, since their new life basically became like, who's my dad? Wait, who is my dad? I wanna find my dad. That's right, they should explain why this reality feels just so familiar to the Order, yet she doesn't know exactly why. Because I really think that Geno and her have experienced coming to this place before her memories got removed. I mean, just think about it, how did Jones even know of this reality, and why did he choose this place as the one perfect for finding the other pieces of the 0 point? Like their mindset before for like which reality pick to go to, like this one 783 was that there is an energy here, ooh, there is a 0 shard here, we should go and capture it. But like chapter 7, this place doesn't even have a 0 shard on it. So why did they exactly come here? Well, the answer is because I think that the IO used to heavily interact and come to this reality 266 in the past. I mean, think about this too, the first introduction we had from the Imagine Order in chapter 1 was them making a movie on the island, which was a really cool movie too. I mean, Omega, sign me. But now my boys, I'm gonna make your brain go kaboom. What is happening on this very island on chapter 7 right at this exact moment? They're making a movie! This entire chapter is about making a movie, and you might think that that's just a coincidence. No, nothing is a coincidence. There is a movie, this matter. There is even a Golden Chef Midas show being made by the same Sauce Studios, and it's on the 79th season, meaning the show has been going on for a really long time. Maybe like the 7 is supposed to represent chapter 7 and the 9 is like how many they have gone in this chapter or something. Who exactly was Midas? An extremely important member of the Imagine Order. But more important than Midas or making a movie or all this stuff like that is Area 07. The very location which the Order landed right near of, and I would say exactly why this place feels so familiar to her. This place is inspired off of Area 51, meaning that it's supposed to be like a secret underground research lab where a government-like group gathers all the clues they can find about the aliens and researches them. And as we know, the aliens in this game work for the last reality, which is why we find a mini cube in this place. Even a whole UFO locked up inside in like a bunker which only some people can reach it. There's like a huge door that like you're not allowed to go in. No, why would they do that? That's kinda sus. But we're gonna get to who exactly this UFO belongs to really soon. It seems that through all the research done here, the people who have abandoned this bunker realize that there is like a ghost-like being who is always watching. Someone with only one eye, especially at the center of a triangle, basically the Illuminati icon. Triangles have always been a huge part of Last Reality's designs for a really long time, and the Last Reality are also the ones said to see everything, even the Dark Voyager himself. So all of this information clearly shows how the entire facility was actually focused on researching the Nothing himself. Find ways to counter his power, which is seeing everything that happens anywhere. Then one of the counters is actually built here and you can still use it, which is this like you go by green goo. It is a type of liquid built to make things go invisible in a magical way that would directly counter the powers of the Nothing. So you're gonna basically goop yourself in order to be safe from the Nothing. That kinda, I don't want it, that's gonna be sticky. Hell no! Now I bring this up because who was the person more obsessed with protecting all realities from the last reality than anyone else? The same person person who actually warned the Foundation of the threat which will come after him thanks to whatever the Seven did, the mess up, the dumb things that you stupid, you're still so stupid, like oh my god. The only person who knew of the chrome before it even happened, and also the same father of these two daughters who sensed the Area 7 to kinda be familiar to him. It's Geno, the leader of the Imagine Order. Now finally, who was the last reality person that the Imagine Order had present ages ago who was also connected to the cubes and had the 07 code on his suit as well, the same code that is like on this bunker? Yeah, that's right, it's the Origin himself. So I really think that UFO you see in there is for Origin and why will kill bunker and everything, because they're keeping everything from the Origin inside of that place, like, or they used to. This reality is basically beyond important to the origin of the Imagine Order, and I believe it was mostly used by Geno to learn and find counters against the last reality. Exactly why he managed to protect us for thousands of years against the enemies. But the Order doesn't really remember it yet, so she chooses to focus on the Dark Voyager for now. That man has finally started making moves, as right away he takes over the Inno-Loop lab, making the whole thing now run with the energy of the golden cubes, as then redecorating it or finding loopers who want to join his side or last reality to help out. So they guard this place and follow his orders. And the Dark Voyager has set this picture all over the lab to remind them that you're always being wise, so like if you do something stupid, if I watch you do something dumb, I'm gonna smack you. This shape in the last reality and even on the big ships represent the everything seeing eye of the Nothing, the god they serve. Then after this takeover, Jones is forced to leave the lab for his safety, and the new area for him and Hope is chosen to be around Area 07. When you go talk to Hope, you find out how her future vision powers have become foggy and unclear, reminding me of another person who experienced this exact same thing in the past named the Dark Jonesy. His visions were blocked by the last reality, so it seems like the exact same thing is also happening to Hope, which should mean that all this time, even in chapter 6 or whatever, Hope seeing visions of the future, that was actually the last reality manipulating her and showing her visions of the future, making her make choices that would actually benefit the last reality, so they were using Hope this whole time. That's actually really interesting. And now that part of their plan has ended, the learning phase, so she has lost the power because there is no need for her to see the future anymore. The Dark Voyager now communicates with the 0-point shard, causing it to start spinning or scan the Omniverse for the exact location of all the other pieces. Exactly something that Hope and Jones and Midas were trying to do here, but the Dark Voyager took over their work and was like, no, thank you for the help, it's mine now. The Dark Voyager also at the same time begins manipulating the functionality of the loop with this, causing many different shapes of the loop to be created. But once the scanning is done and the exact locations are found, he begins traveling to them, starting with a reality that has a green colored space. My boy uses a sideways rift really similar to the one that the Cube Queen created for traveling onto these realities, as the Order sees this and uses it to our advantage, reaching onto the 0-point and figuring out what exactly is going on. We even get to hear what exactly happens during it.
The place is crawling with thugs working for the Dark Voyager. Based on that ship of his, he's connected to the last reality, but something feels off. I think there's more going on than meets the eye. I've got a lock on one of the pieces I need. Once I'm able to send the signal, then my old friend should... Wait, that looks like a boarding mission. Jones, if you receive this message, I need you to...
The Order speaks of the Dark Voyager being more than meets the eye, and I think that might be because the Seven normally don't really put the last reality and the Nothing in the same category. They basically look at the Nothing as something way worse than the last reality. So maybe it might be that's exactly what she's talking about. Maybe she's like, the Dark Voyager is not just working for the last reality, he's directly talking to the Nothing. So thinking about this makes her create a device for calling in the rest of the Seven. She figures out exactly how to create this device inside of the Inno-Loop lab, but before she gets to escape, the Order falls right into the Voyager's trap and is captured by the Voyager's goons and prison. This prison uses the cube's energy in a way that would not let the Order use her suit's powers, especially one that would allow her to rift herself away. But Jones does manage to hear her message and find exactly the location she is prisoned on, planning to break the cube's energy within the cell so the Order rifts out of it. The plan works out right before the Voyager finally brings in the 0-point shard he has found within the reality he traveled into. The guy of course gets really angry after hearing that the Order managed to escape, so back then he just used to scan people, know like your exact location, your search history and everything. But right now, if you start messing with him, he is so mad that he's gonna send you to the bus driver. For now, he got the 0-point shard to focus on, as the Dark Voyager creates a zero gravity ring similar to the one that the mothership used to make. And with it, he slowly moves the shard on the exact location it needs to be on, causing the thing to finally act kinda more like the 0-point itself. While he's doing so, Hope finally gets to meet with an actual member of the Seven, as the Order gets to finish her work on the device to call in the rest of the Seven, hoping that at least some of them are still alive to answer. The plan here is to gather as much of the Seven as possible so together they can take down the Voyager and stop him from collecting all the shards. Two members of the Seven actually do manage to connect onto this signal, accepting it and moving right towards us. Jones, hearing this, gets our help to prepare a location right near Area 07 for the Seven's arrival. So the place gets turned into a landing zone for a Seven rocket, because on the Seven's answer, a huge red rift appears in the sky, making it pretty much obvious that one of them is coming in with a rocket. That person turns out to be the Visitor. The Order gets really excited to finally see another Seven member again after so long. But once she does, the guy looks nothing like the Visitor she remembers. He's kinda even shorter. They have no idea how this is even possible or if the Order can fully trust him. But their theories for now are that Visitor is either an alternate reality version of theirs or an entire different timeline. But in Professor Lore's personal opinion, it's actually none of those. I'm gonna tell you what exactly it is in the end of this video, so keep watching. For now, see this as the OG game mode Visitor and not really ours, since the Visitor we know is still being corrupted. Amy also comes in with him too, but again, it's not really the Amy we remember. This one sounds way more like an actual robot and kinda even soulless, at least compared to the chaos that we remember.
She won't stop calling me daddy.
Bad ideas don't improve themselves by propagating. We don't know what the Dark Voyager is capable of.
And we won't know until we do some recon.
You need to stay away from the Dark Voyager. That's an order.
What makes you think I take orders from you?
I stalked the Voyager through the husks of burnt-out stars and the ashes of crumbling realities. If you were easily dealt with, don't you think I would have done that by now?
We've only just met, so I don't really know what you're capable of.
Your hubris and impatience are endangering the mission. You've become reckless, like your sister.
The Imagined would understand the stakes here. I'm surprised you don't.
Did you learn nothing from losing her?
I learned one thing. It's better to be reckless than timid when everything is on the line. The Visitor doesn't understand. He's not our Visitor. He talks about failing, about losing people like it's theoretical. In his reality, the downfall of the Seven hasn't happened yet. I won't fail another island. Amy, scan and summarize encrypted communications.
The encrypted channel features a symbol message addressed to a redacted comm. It says, "I will not fail you."
I was right. The Dark Voyager is working for someone.
This obviously confirms how the Voyager is being given orders by someone telling him what to do. And the game is kinda making it feel like, who is this mysterious person? I wonder, Who is it? You gotta figure it out. Do it. Figure it out. And of course, the main answer should be the Nothing, because as we said, the Voyager is kinda teased as like the second herald of the Nothing and everything and all of that. But right now at the moment, Fortnite kinda making it feel like we should not like know exactly who it is. It's not the answer that is kinda obvious, so I'm gonna bring up some other answers too, just in case that's actually what's going on right now. The choices I could come up with is first, the OG version of the Ice King is now working with the last reality, just like Lynx, and the Dark Voyager is kinda answering to him. And this one I'm gonna talk about is my personal favorite choice. It has to be the Cube King himself, if it's not the Nothing. Also, the origin being corrupted once more after getting captured makes just total sense for the Dark Voyager to get orders from the King of the Cubes himself, who would basically become the leader of the last reality faction once again if he became like the Cube King again. Not to mention, it would also be an amazing way for him to come into the island with the other two Care 7 members in the future seasons. And this entire chapter also is supposed to be about the fate of the Seven. So to me, it just really makes sense. It has to be either the Nothing, there is just so much Nothing teasers in this season as well, but on the other side, if it's not the Nothing, it has to be Origin. These are the two. Tell me in the comments, which one do you agree with? For now, the Seven suits have an AI which writes the history log of every single event the Seven have gone through. The Order chooses to share this log with this visitor so he gets to update himself on everything that the Seven have been through. Especially because this guy has only experienced everything about the Seven till like chapter 1 season 4, so every single actually important thing that has happened to the Seven, he was like, that never happened to me, I'm fine. Oh my god. What did you go through? The one thing he focuses on is the fact that the Seven chose to free the 0 point in the end. Of course, it was a really well-intentioned action since like no one can really be trusted with basically the god of Fortnite. But Visitor brings up the exact point as Geno's mindset, how freeing this thing is basically exposing it to our enemies, having disastrous results, or basically Geno was always right. As you heard in the voice lines, Visitor is horrified of the Dark Voyager. He has been chasing the guy since he left OG in season 4. And exactly why the rift he came in with was red, because of the corruption that the Dark Voyager himself put on the ship right on takeoff. He speaks of how the Voyager left many realities in dust, destroying them on his way to the island. So the guy has absolutely no idea how they're gonna even fight against the Voyager, nor he's even really looking forward to it, because he's gonna die. That's where the goat of the Seven finally comes in to save them. Your savior is here, the man, the myth, the legend. Because oh my god, the foundation. Well, not yet. Soon, in season 2 I mean, with a new skin too. Even the Order is getting a new suit, and the designer who made this, let me give you a kiss. Mwah! The sisters never really had a Seven themed color because they prefer their suits to represent their forgotten past. So now that the Order has learned that Geno is actually her father, this suit is entirely designed based on Geno himself. And if you want to exactly say like how, what the hell am I even saying, like Scyan, are you okay, what does this have to do with something from medieval, I actually made this thing to make it kinda simple for you to understand that yeah, every single detail of it is actually intentionally designed from Geno. I really hope they cook just as hard for the new foundation design too. Now on February 23rd, Visitor got an incoming transmission from the Seven. This was basically a roadmap of the events happening at the end of this season and the Seven's plans for going into season 2. The transmission also came with a Morse code that translated into Foundation! Do you copy? So the Seven's plans are gonna begin on March 7th with ordnance or offensive weapons being deployed for fighting against the Dark Voyager, before he gets to capture every piece of the 0 point. The day after, it returns. Also the Voyager finding another piece of the 0 point shard and bringing it in just like the last one. Then another day after, it begins. That's being the Voyager shooting mass amount of his own ship's energy into the 0 point. And the idea for this is to refuel these pieces enough so the 0 point itself can call in the rest of the pieces without the need of the Voyager going into the other realities. But also for chunks of these realities they are in to be brought into the map too. Why? Who knows? The last reality maybe wants like some people who are on those locations to come into, or maybe the locations have something in them, like the frozen one, which we're gonna reach that. Maybe there is like some of the Ice King's collection in them, like in the comics and such. Who knows? So on the 12th, wave 1 of the 7's attack begins, just at the same time as the 0 point destabilizing 60% and opening the first rift door onto a desert reality, which I believe to maybe be connected to the desert from chapter 3. The day after, wave 2 of the attack begins, while the 0 point is now 80% destabilized, causing the second rift door to open. This one is where the Coral Castle from chapter 2 originates from. And finally on the 14th, the 7 gets ready for the final wave of attacks, as the 0 point is now 100% destabilized, causing a rift door towards the final needed piece. That's being home of the Ice King, the frozen reality. And you know what's funny about this? Like every single one of these realities, we got the frozen one is connected to chapter 1 map, we got the Coral Castle one is connected to the chapter 2 man, and then like the desert one probably is connected to chapter 3. I think that's actually intentional. The attacks of the 7 end on the 18th with a mission recap as the day after, which is Fortnite Season 2. We get the beginning of the main mission, aka the return of the GOAT. My boy, you're getting back into Fortnite. You better cook. You better get a really good skin, or I'm gonna put you back in the box.
Scyan, do you know what's the best thing about returning to Fortnite? I don't get to see your ugly ass ever again with that big ass nose, and I'm so goddamn tired of you. You have no idea. I'm gonna finally be free from you. I hate you. I hate every single piece of you. If I was the nothing, I wouldn't even eat you. You would make me get sick. You taste horrible. I hope you never get a woman and you die lonely.
You didn't have to do me like that. What did I do to you? So the Foundation seems to be a huge focus in Season 2, and that's gonna be when he finally returns to Fortnite, so I can't wait for that. But once the transmission is fully loaded, we get to hear the voice of the visitor who was watching it saying that
Sometimes fate is inevitable.
Okay, Grandpa, you're not Thanos. Go get your meds. Wait! Unless my OG video is actually right, the fact that like last reality made OG and everything, I have to watch this video about later, and maybe like the visitor is actually kinda secretly working for the last reality, or is kinda sus. I mean, both Lynx and maybe even like the Ice King seem to be working for the last reality, and they're from OG, and maybe The Fortnite tweet with this also said that revenge will be ours, which is a reference to how the 7 lost to the last reality, and how hopefully this time they're back to actually win. The 7 are even taking over Area 07 to create their new command base there in Season 2. So Season 2 basically is shaping up to become basically exactly what happened in Chapter 2. Chapter 2 we had like Season 7 Chapter 2, which basically even started in a similar way to Chapter 7 Season 1. And after Chapter 2 Season 7 we had Chapter 2 Season 8, which was like the aftermath of the season before, and exactly the same thing is gonna be the next season. What's that one used to be the Imagine Order versus the last reality, this one is the 7 versus the last reality, which is kinda really cool. Now regarding the realities that have a portal being opened towards them, especially the Frozen Ice King one. 3 years ago in Chapter 4 I came up with the 5 realities theory. I know, shush. Let me yap. I know you hate the 5 realities. How dare you? The idea was that there are 5 realities that are extremely important to the original Fortnite lore, especially the characters of the game, like Midas, Geno, I don't know, the Ice King and such. Then I also said how these realities are each designed based on a mythology. That theory with every chapter kept on coming true more and more. But this reality we're getting right now in the next season is also basically like part of the theory that I came up with 3 years ago. My theories from 3 years ago coming true. That's actually actually insane! Look at this picture. I made it 3 years ago. I said that the frozen chunk in chapter 4 comes from the same reality that the Ice Moon or Polar Peak comes from and the Ice King. I also said how this reality is Norse mythology themed and how Ragnarok and such are probably from it. And now look at this! The picture I made has Ice King, Norse mythology, and chapter 4. Now this reality is coming, it has the Ice King, it has Norse mythology people in it, and it has the exact same trees as the one in chapter 4. Everything I said, every single detail of the things I said, it all, oh my god, I'm gonna...
This is exactly why I'm so happy to leave this place back to Fortnite. You're so goddamn annoying.
Shut up! I think he died. Did I ruin season 2? Our Ice King, the original one, seems to be dead, and the one coming seems to be a clone of him. The same one who was inside the Fortnite OG. It seems that the last reality wants him on the island because just like Link's. The guy is also working with the Dark Voyager, so the core theme of season 2 is gonna be Ice King plus Dark Voyager versus the Foundation and the Seven. But why exactly would the Ice King work for the last reality, and who the hell is this visitor, since he's not really our visitor? If you wanna know those things and more, watch this video right here. I've already explained all of those in this video, and it's such an important video that you need to watch this before season 2 comes out. It answers a lot of questions. You need to watch this, trust me. Go right now.